All right, we're here. I'm with Seth and Andrea, Year One Organics. They're helping me out this weekend. They come and help me out here. The video today is going to be about rare Garcinias and repotting them. So we've got all these rare Garcinias. They came from Jim West out of Ecuador. I forget the exact name, but it looks like a Garcinia acuminata. It's like a bumpy lemon, but this one's like a shrubby version that stays smaller. The fruit is supposed to be mildly sweet, a little bit of acid, and you only need one tree. This is another one that's much harder to grow. I forget the name, but it makes a bigger fruit, and I killed a lot of these. It looks a lot like a Madrono, to be honest, so it's probably some variation of the Madrono. I forget the exact name. It's a rare variety he gave me, and it is not the Madrono. And that's Garcinia Madrono is what a lot of people call the Madrono. And I don't think this is Garcinia Madrono, even though it looks like it. This is another one of these Garcinias from Jim West. They're all from Jim West, these are. But this is the one that's supposed to look like a Garcinia acuminata, like a bumpy lemon. They're variable, so I have a lot of variation. Some didn't do so well. I think that's another one looking real small. This is another one of the other ones that looks more like a Madrono, the harder to grow ones. I killed a lot of these. And then this is another of the bumpy lemon looking fruit. Bumpy lemon, bumpy lemon. This one looks really good. These are getting close to flowering, and once they start to flower, I'll try to graft them. But these are all the ones I kept. Look at this one, looks so sad. I think some of them got iced over a little bit. And one of these is a Garcinia acuminata. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. This one's actually Garcinia acuminata, which is what the ones that Jim West gave me look like, but it's not the same. This is different. This is kind of hard to grow. Doesn't like the cold. About the same cold tolerance as a mango. And the reason we're growing all these Garcinias is because, you know, the mangosteen is so wonderful. And this is fruits that are decent sized, that are similar or at least somewhat like the mangosteen because they're related. So we're growing them. And this is actually a Luke's Garcinia in a really deep pot. Roots kind of tangled up there, getting big. It's about flowering, fruiting size. We're gonna put that in one of these big pots. I've got all these different specialty pots. Some are big. Some are a little smaller with the special holes for root pruning because the Garcinias have taproots. That's why they're all in deep pots and specialty pots. They've got these taproots. We'll take a look at those on all the varieties. And we got this one big pot right here. And we're gonna put that big Garcinia, the Luke's, in it. So we're gonna get started. We've got this area that we've set up underneath this oak tree. It's on like the south or the east side of an oak tree, which is a really good place for the winter. We cleared out a bunch of bromeliads that were there from the previous owners of the farm, and we put down this black nursery cloth. Now we're gonna lay down a layer of plastic to kind of further prevent the oak roots from growing up into the pots. The oak will do that. It'll actually send feeder roots up into your pots and kind of choke the pots out a little bit for water and nutrients. So this is gonna add some extra water and block the oak roots. And we're gonna lay down this plastic and repot these Garcinias, put them on the mat, and pray that we have a nice growing season. So we're getting our plastic laid out right now. And we've got these pieces of wood right here to make like a little edge where it kind of traps a little bit of the water. You just basically fold it over like that, and it works out pretty nice to trap some water in there. We're gonna do that all the way around this edge, but the top edge we're not gonna do because it's up against the oak and all the water's just gonna kind of pool up this way. You could throw a brick on the corner too. if you wanted.
Wait to pull the weeds because sometimes it helps keep the root ball together.
That's true.
On some of them,
It's true. It does help.
Want to get that smaller?
So you always start with your biggest plants first, because if you have a limited amount of soil, you're gonna run out sooner. You know what I mean. You don't want to run out when you have a big plant. You want to do all the big ones that need it the most first. And this is the Luke's Garcinia seedling, probably 8-9 years old. I don't know, I lost track. And it's growing in a deep pot there, a tree pot. I don't even know who makes these. Oh goodness. Stu and Sons. So, all right, cool. That's the worst when the lip breaks off. We're gonna take that out of that and put it into this big pot right here. And eventually I'll probably plant it in the ground, but for now I'm gonna keep it in a pot. And by the way, my soil mix is about 95% Canadian peat moss. That's the brand I get from Home Depot. It used to be like $9 a bag, now it's like $20. Organic, sphagnum peat moss. Use those cubes, mix it with just a little bit of perlite, maybe 5% perlite, and then some hollytone, maybe 3% hollytone, more or less. It just depends on what you're growing, but that's a good general mix that works for everything. There's the perlite. You get that from BWI in Apopka. Getting hard to find perlite even. So yeah, 95% peat moss, 5% perlite, give or take, and then the rest is just a little bit of espoma. That's already pre-mixed. Now I'm gonna dump it in here. I'm gonna try to dump it in here. This is like Tonka trucks. You're good. I think I got it in there.
Yeah.
Did it come out?
Yep. Good enough.
Perfect. So now we'll kind of make a little hole in the middle here. That's a good enough amount of soil because I can adjust that as needed. But the roots are probably going to come all the way down to the bottom.
Which one you put in there?
Might have to flatten the roots out a little bit.
This one here.
So it is root bound. I can pick it up, but it's not going to like come apart. We got this stupid thing on there I gotta get off, but I'll wait till I take it off. But you basically just kind of secure the tray and tug. This one's a little, something going on here. I might have to tug that a little bit. I just fertilized it too, and I lost all that good fertilizer. You don't want the roots to break apart, so you can use gravity too. There we go. There's your root system. Luke's Garcinia.
Looks great.
Yeah, I might stop it in a second and get some pictures of that. So that's a bale of peat moss. Probably could use a little more, maybe a little
There
more.
was a good bit in there. Just don't look like it.
Okay, that's good. That's good on the perlite floor. And then this is the tree over here. Let's see how it stands up. Oh, it's perfect. It fits just right. And then this, whenever you got weeds in the pot, wait to pull the weeds until you have the tree situated, because it helps hold the root ball together when you're going to repot it. When you take it out of the pot, the weeds help hold it. So I'm just trying to pull all the roots and make sure they're like going down at least. Some of them get turned up. That's not good. They ain't always good to get turned up. That's pretty good. I'm not too worried about it. I just want it kind of centered. It's ready to go, just like that. Just leave it. I've seen trees where the water gets, all the soil gets washed out. It'll grow like that. and the roots just are down, the taproots down, and it has nothing.
Remember my giant sabra?
No. Oh yeah, that was Hawaii.
That was growing on rock.
That doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
It does though. It's the exact same conditions in Hawaii, but it's rare to do it in Florida. You need a greenhouse and then watered all the time, but hot still is fun.
Challenging.
Don't breathe it in. Soil mix. Good rehab for a sprained wrist. Honestly.
And shoulder.
Yeah, shoulder's fucked up too. Messed up. Beep. All right, that's good. Yeah, let's shovel this shit in.
Too bad to keep one pot.
Yeah. That's a lot of money. That's $20 or more just right there in soil is what, 30 bucks in soil. So this is bringing the value of the tree up. Let me go into my that I told Seth about. I've thought about this before. But let's say you have a tree that you sold. I mean, to me, it's like real estate. Every cube of that peat moss that you buy is like a lot, a piece of land that's gonna be taken up on someone's property. And if you have a tree, nothing else can occupy that space. Like you see these trees behind me, like those are trees. Houses can't go there. I mean, you could put maybe like a shed under it or a tree fort in it, but trees occupy space on real estate. So it's almost like little bits of real estate that are saleable. And one time I actually did the math on like the square footage for the cost of real estate, just raw land, and like did it for it came out almost pretty accurately for like a 25-gallon pot was like 250 bucks, you know, a 3-gallon was like 50 bucks. It was interesting. So that's how I've thought about it. This is real estate and it's saleable, and even if it's a piece this big,
Portable.
it's like a fraction of real estate. It's gonna take up space on someone's property. To a certain degree that's true, and to a certain degree it's not. Because then you could argue like your Apple computer is a piece of real estate. You know, it's like, oh, it takes up this much space.
No, it's definitely different. This is in dirt, it's just like real estate.
Right. There's gonna be a hole you're gonna cut out of your property and literally dig out the earth and replace with this. Or set it on top. Anyway, that was my real estate.
It's better than real estate for investing. 100%.
I would say it's just different, but for some people it would make sense if you had land. If you already have land, you're crazy not to be growing something on it. Because you're definitely losing money on that.
It's not good.
But good. Some people, no, more. Some people just don't want to grow, just like some people don't want to like work as a mortician, you know what I mean? Or like raising goats or whatever, you know?
That's just what they think, but they got a niche.
So you push down around the edges real hard, make it expand, and it also adds pressure on the root ball to kind of lock it in. It's okay if it's a little crooked. It's gonna get blown around and everything. I probably have to stake this thing. We're gonna have to do something, but it's gonna get blown around. It's fine, a little crooked. I don't mind. The tree kind of goes like this anyway. We need just a little more soil, then it'll be good. But I want to pile the soil up to about right here.
Yeah,
It's gonna have some roots exposed a little bit, but that's fine.
It's at least 35 bucks worth of peat
Yeah.
when you buy it this way.
Yeah. Picking up another batch of soil. He just dumped out a cube of peat. This is a nice little wheelbarrow where it holds a cube of peat. That's really nice. You can mix a cube of peat without spilling it over. So he just put on the espoma. That's got live biology in it. That sends out the mycorrhiza, and it's just wonderful for the soil. It's the difference between roots and no roots. Don't breathe that in. Get downwind. That's probably good on the. That was a little much on the perlite, but it's fine. We're gonna let that air out. It's coming our way. If you're mixing that shit indoors and you have that perlite, it'll ruin your life. Helps to wet the perlite down too. And certain atmospheric conditions can make it way worse. Or I've noticed on certain days where it'll be dry, but I guess the something about the pressure or something. Barometric pressure. So that's mixed up.
It's 1 gallon pot enough. Espoma?
Yeah, we're fine. Doesn't have to be a lot. Can't really go too much more because there's holes in the side of this pot at the top. So just literally like 3 or 4 more scoops on the top are fine. 1, 2, let's do 4. So 3 and 4. And then you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go find some like wood or mulch or something to kind of block these holes. Because it's got holes all at the top, around the edge of the pot. That's just gonna, the soil's gonna leak out of that. Water's gonna leak out when I go to water. Yeah, that way we're gonna crack it. Just like a plug. Yeah, you could just take it, push it in there. That's plugged up very well. Yeah,
Scratch your leg when you walk by.
that's all good. Keep you on your toes. It don't have to be perfect. You can literally have it sticking out into the pot. That's fine. That's fine, yeah. Yep, that's good. That's like Mr. Miyagi shit. You know what I'm talking about? Where bonsai, they like
Pin them in.
it's like S&M. They like whips and chains. Like it's crazy. Yeah. I never got into bonsai growing. Too much work.
Yeah, we got a couple of them.
Tubercabas already look like bonsais.
Yeah, without much help. So that one's done pretty much. And we plugged up these holes on the top. Mr. Miyagi. Yep, that works. I'm sure that'll last like a week or 2.
I think most of it will settle anyway.
Yeah, let's drag this thing on the mat.
You should get a little before the mat first.
Well, there, right there, right?
Yeah, we're good. Which way?
Maybe put it down over here. I just don't want the wind to beat it up.
We definitely should stake it.
Yeah. I've never done this before, but this tree needs to be staked up so it doesn't get blown around. And all we have is like this T-post. And I was thinking about putting it in the ground next to the tree, but we're just gonna put it in the pot. So I don't know. I don't think that's gonna really work too well, but we'll do it anyway. It is. Ow! I hit my shoulder. This.
Came down and hit me right in the back of the neck from like 20 foot, and it hurt so bad I seen like white for a second.
Ooh, like stars.
No, one of the pods, the ice cream. Yeah, literally busted my neck.
I don't know if this is gonna help at all, but maybe a little. That's pretty cool.
I think so.
Once we water it in, it'll get tighter around it. Cool. All right, on to the next. So I have all these different types of pots. You get them. I get them used from other nurseries. Some are kind of beat up, but they'll still work. I'm gonna start to try to place the pot next to the tree ahead of time, so I kind of have everything visualized. But that one will go with that one. This one goes with this one. These go in here. These are a pair. These are the only 2 I think I have of those. And then let's look for some nice, really big trees for this one. This one can go into this one. This one can probably go into this one. Okay, now see, I wish I had some of these root pruners, but I don't. These work just as well, but you get, the taproot will tangle up a little more in there. Another 15? Yeah. Nice. Okay, so this big boy can go in here. This is a lot of soil I'm spending on these. is because I can't really put them in the ground. If I put them in the ground, it may get too cold. And I want to grow these out as fast as I can in a pot and keep them warm. It's a really nice one here. So we've got all the pots picked out that we want to use and put the plants in them to kind of visualize everything. And this is the walkthrough. I kind of wish I had different pots and a better selection, but you can see some are root pruners, some are not. It's all based on the size of the tree, the depth of the root ball, that kind of thing. So we're gonna get started, and we're probably not gonna film the whole thing. We'll just kind of show you some of the roots, and we'll get going. So this is always like the most risky part, where you can really hurt the tree. I like to grab the edge of the pot, place my hand around the root ball kind of flat, you know what I mean, with the trunk between my fingers. And then like a sand castle, you don't want it to come apart. This one's pretty solid. This is one of those rare Garcinias that looks like a Garcinia acuminata, but it's not. So there we go, in a really nice pot. Really trying to force this thing to fruit soon. Yeah, Bill Whitman had the Garcinia acuminata. He called it Reedia, I think. Or like Caracuela or something. It's C-H-A-R-C-A-A-U-L, whatever. Some weird name. Bumpy lemon is what it looks like. And this one's supposed to be like that, but not the same. This is actually the true Garcinia acuminata right next to it. And this has been a lot harder for me to keep happy. And this is supposed to be a much bigger tree. This is supposed to fruit right about this size. It's supposed to start flowering at about 5 years old, 4 feet tall. Actually, this is probably older than 5. More like 7 to 8, I bet. 5 to 8. Just gonna push around the edges all the way around, pack it in. You can throw it on there, I ain't worried about it. And straighten out the tree as much as I can. We need more. Maybe 2 or 3 more, like 1 or 2 more, yeah. That should do it, probably. Now the thing with these pots right here, these root pruner pots, is you got all the holes in the side, and that helps the tree not get root bound. But what it also does is make it dry out faster, and weeds grow all in each of those holes. So the best thing to do is to put it in a sleeve, which is another big pot. And I wish I had a pot that fit that, I don't know. I may even just make a sleeve out of old plastic for this, where I just wrap it with a sleeve to keep it from drying out as much and to keep the weeds from growing in it. We may show that towards the end, but this one's pretty much good to go. We'll just push it down a little more. You're good to stop. See the roots on this one? One of those trees from Jim West. Put that in a 25. Needs to go down maybe a little more. I'll lift it up. Yep, see that root hanging? We want to make sure that root goes down. That's perfect. And we just straighten it out as it goes, I guess. Just to give you an idea of some of the taproots, this is in a 3 gallon. Look at this thing. Comes down about 2 or 3 feet in 3 gallon. It's gonna go in this pot, but you gotta make sure that taproot stays down. So I'll fiddle with that in a second here. Take this and bury it down really gently. I untangled it. See, I buried the taproot and at the bottom, and now I'm gonna lift it as I plant it and raise it up so that the taproot's down, but it's planted down in there. From a 3 gallon to like a 15 gallon. I think that was a 3. Yeah, we took it out of that pot. and now it's in a 15. And that taproot reaches all the way to the bottom. I stretched it down and lifted the plant up, and now it's going good. So this is the final product. Took a little while, maybe like an hour and a half or so. Got some help from Seth, Andrea, and Clark. I want to say thanks a lot. We got our basin laid out to block the oak roots. We got black mat, plastic. All these have been put up in new pots, and hopefully they can fruit sometime soon. You got the Luke's Garcinia and the big pot. Everything looking really good. I'm sure the chickens are gonna get in this and dig it around. It's really gonna be annoying. But just really happy to have all these planted out, looking like they might fruit in the next 2 years if I'm lucky. These are the 2 ones that look more like a Madrono. 2 of those left. And I think all of the rest are the other Garcinia that looks more like the Garcinia acuminata. These are some that were so weak we didn't want to repot them. We just kind of left them as they were because they were weak and they weren't root bound. And this is actually the Garcinia acuminata right here. So we'll see. Thanks for watching. We'll keep them watered and we'll keep you updated. One day it'd be nice to sell some fruits out of these, wouldn't it? I'll have some lemon drop mangosteen available on my website here soon. I think I have 1 pack, but it's probably sold, but I'll have more coming. It's looking really good, guys. Thanks for watching.